and welcome to another episode of Questions in Gaming. Although I do have a few announcements beforehand. For starters, we have a Discord server now. If you'll check the description, you'll see it. I will do a comment about it if I remember to, although I don't know if YouTube will let me link it. Basically, if you want to contact me about anything, that's probably the best way to do it. I'm going to have some things where you can recommend theories and stuff or whatever. So I might do some of them. Please join it. It'll be fun. I'll try to remember to link it every week whenever I upload. So who knows? Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. But yeah, that's all about the Discord. In today's episode, we will be talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, one of the most weirdly controversial games of the last 2 years. It feels like probably. I don't know really how to start this. Today, I'm basically going to be running through 3 theories with you all. I'm going to say which one I think is the most likely, and I'm going to explain the other 2. You can have your own opinion on which one you think is the most likely, of course, although I will be explaining why I have my viewpoint. I will go ahead and warn you, there will probably be spoilers, although I'll try to avoid spoilers as much as I can. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The first theory, and the main theory that I'm going to be talking about today, is the clone theory. This is basically the idea that the Suicide Squad is facing off against clones of the Justice League from Brainiac, with the potential exception of Wonder Woman, because duh, if you haven't played the game, then Wonder Woman is basically still good, the others are bad, infected by Brainiac, and that's all you really need to know. The theory kind of has some evidence. Well, not kind of, it just straight up does. In the game, Flash gets his finger cut off by Captain Boomerang. Later in the game, though, when Flash reappears, his finger is suddenly back. Some people think this could be Rocksteady making an error. On the other end, this has still not been patched, and if it was an error, I feel like they would have fixed it. I think one thing we can all agree on is no matter how much Rocksteady may mess up this game, one of the things they do the best is attention to detail. So I do believe that this is probably an intentional thing and will end up being the reasoning that they are clones, as this is the theory I'm currently buying into. Also, when Flash has the lasso of truth around him, he actually says the truth. He says to Diana, aka Wonder Woman, that she has to kill them. Which, this is one of the biggest things that people have mentioned. If these are clones and they're pure evil, wouldn't Flash lie? And I kind of get it on the other end. There's 3 things that the clone theory has against it, and all 3 are kind of connected to this idea of, are they pure evil? If they are pure evil, then they just straight up can't really be clones unless Flash for some reason told the truth despite being pure evil, which wouldn't really make sense considering the lore of the lasso of truth. I mean, there's a chance that it just works differently and we don't know that, but again, we don't know that. If they are clones and this is just a matter of they're perfect clones, therefore they still tell the truth, or if they're clones and still have good inside them, then this kind of fixes it all. Basically, this would mean that Flash is still evil and controlled by Brainiac, however, the good side of him is coming out in this one instance where he is telling the truth to Diana because of the lasso, which would pretty much explain this interaction. Another thing is that in Green Lantern's fight, when John dies, the ring does not fly off of him. If you didn't know, in Green Lantern lore, basically whenever a lantern dies, the ring will go fly off to the next person, essentially. This is just straight up how most lanterns get their powers. If you know anything about the Green Lantern lore, then you definitely have heard of John Stewart and Hal Jordan. Basically, all you need to know is that the way Hal got his ring was that he found a dead guy in a spaceship, essentially, or depending on the continuity, he could just be on the ground. And the ring chose him because of his willpower, yada yada yada. Green Lanterns work off willpower. Basically, this game kind of breaks the norm for what is the norm in all Green Lantern media. Not only does the ring not fly away, King Shark just straight up grabs it and uses it, which makes zero sense in the Green Lantern lore. This likely means that it's a fake ring, potentially, or Brainiac hasn't somehow replicated it or has some version of it. On the other end, you could say that this is a ring from another universe, which we're going to be getting into how that could work into another theory later, but I will keep in mind that that could be true even for the clone theory, since Brainiac claims that he has been through multiple universes, and we know this. Based off what Luther says, he has about 13 Brainiacs, basically, that work in a hive mind. We're going to get into that in a minute. Moving on to the issue with Superman about the clone theory. Wonder Woman stabs Superman with kryptonite, which in pretty much any other media would have probably just straight up killed him. Instead, he barely seems to even care, which makes zero sense, and Diana just straight up says it should have killed him as her dying words. And by the way, yes, Superman just straight up kills Wonder Woman, which kind of shows how this is probably a clone. If this was the real Superman, the kryptonite would have killed him. There's not really a workaround here, unless you want to say alternate universe. If this is the real Superman, he is dead off that one move. And this is kind of one of the big reasons why people are buying into the clone theory. Because if it is a clone that's been enhanced by Brainiac, then perhaps he somehow managed to get the kryptonite weakness away. I don't really know how he would have done it, but we just have to assume. He also doesn't talk to Diana, potentially showing that this is a more recent or unfinished clone that Brainiac kind of had to send out last second because, well, Diana was doing really good. And then last is Batman, which is the big controversy in this game and the third big reason why the clone theory is probably true, and also kind of the reason that is working against Rocksteady. Batman just straight up wouldn't have died the way he did if he isn't a clone or from another universe. And it's kind of just a plot hole that they probably have a workaround for and we're all overreacting to because the DLC is probably going to show either the alternate universe theory or the clone theory. Either way, it would fix the Batman issue. But all you need to know is that if you watch Arkham Knight, the game, just watch gameplay from that, and remember Batman does this all canonically in a single night. In a single 24-hour period, basically, less than 24-hour, he does all of the Arkham Knight stuff. Which, not going to spoil Arkham Knight, it's an old game. If you haven't played it, I'd be surprised, but please go play it. Arkham games are great. He also claims that he killed the Joker, which it seems to be taunting Harley. Even if he is being mind controlled, though, I don't think Arkham Batman would have ever claimed to kill the Joker. He fought that for the entire series of the Arkham games. 4 games were all about his relationship pretty much with the Joker, and him claiming to have killed him would basically ruin those 4 games in their entirety. He would just straight up never have claimed to have killed the Joker. If he said that he's the reason he's gone or something, sure, but he claims that he killed him. Next up, though, the next theory I want to talk about briefly is the alternate universe theory. Brainiac is part of 13 other hive minds of Brainiacs that are across the multiverse, so it's him and 12 others. The lasso of truth on Barry could be a flash from another universe, and whenever he comes back with his finger back, it could just be Brainiac switching out a flash for another universe flash. This argument means that Brainiac probably didn't actually kill the other Justice Leagues, Because why would he choose to mind control this universe specifically's Justice League? He probably has mind controlled other Justice Leagues, and it kind of just makes sense that this could be alternate universe shenanigans. It also would explain possibly the Superman weakness to kryptonite with this universe's Superman, whichever one it may be, just straight up not being weak to kryptonite. The Batman is just not as intelligent as the Arkhamverse Batman. The Flash has multiple forms, explaining why he just didn't instantly kill everyone, and the Ring would have different rules because John Stewart's from a different universe. This would all kind of check out, and I think this is probably the second most likely theory. I still personally think the clone theory is better. It just explains more and it's more easier to understand. I feel like if they did the alternate universe theory, people would have issues with it just because it's alternate universe shenanigans. You could say that this also would explain Diana to an extent, why she seems to have mixed feelings about this Justice League and why some of them react weirdly to her, like Superman not talking originally to her. This also would explain one of Brainiac's last lines talking to the Suicide Squad, where he mentions how his invasion will take place in every universe, and he also says, "How did you kill my Justice League?" Not your Justice League as in this universe is, just my Justice League. This is a pretty good step in the right direction in proving the potential for the alternate universe theory, basically meaning that Brainiac admits that this is not their version of the Justice League. This also would basically tie up some other loose ends, like the Flash Finger stuff, as I previously mentioned. And I still think the clone theory is more likely, but if you believe that this is the alternate universe theory, I wouldn't blame you. Both have a lot of support, pretty much, from the game. The third theory, though, that I want to talk about is the resurrection theory, that if the League is dead, they will all just come back somehow. Basically, everything I just said comes back for the resurrection theory, although some people believe that the resurrection theory is only true for Wonder Woman. This basically means that if the resurrection theory is kind of true, it would be true for only Wonder Woman. Some people think that the rest of the League will be either clones or from an alternate universe. However, Wonder Woman will somehow be resurrected. I believe that she will. I don't believe that we actually killed the real Justice League and they're all just going to be resurrected, because that doesn't really make sense specifically for Batman and Superman. While Flash and Green Lantern, you could argue to an extent, with Flash, you could say that he simply got cocky or something. But Batman and Superman, Kryptonite would just straight up kill him there, even if he is under mind control or resurrected or whatever. And with Batman, it just doesn't make sense for Arkham Batman to fall for that kind of stuff. He wouldn't die that way, and I think most people would agree with that. Another note that I want to make is the fact that all the heroes except for Wonder Woman get sucked back into Brainiac's ship, meaning that he's likely not done with them, meaning he could resurrect the League. Somehow the squad might turn them good. This is probably one of the bigger things that could support the resurrection theory, but even then, that's just speculation at best. Another quick note that some people have mentioned is how the Bat family is absent, and it doesn't make sense that Batman wouldn't try to call them to maybe help or something, but if he's from another reality, then he just straight up might not know there's a Bat family. And if it's a clone, then he could think that Dick Grayson or Jason Todd or someone will figure out pretty easily that he's a clone and might attack him. Basically, it kind of does make sense that even if they're available or whatever, that he wouldn't try to call them. Long story short, I think all three theories have a lot of truth to them. I think all three have something that'll probably end up being kind of right in the final DLC. Who knows though? So, comment down below which theory you guys think. Please like and subscribe as always. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.